Hi everyone, welcome to Yin and Restorative Yoga with some gentle movement to start. My name is Michelle Chua, and for this practice you'll want to have 2 blocks, a strap, a blanket, and a bolster or pillow. Let's begin finding a comfortable seat of your choice. You may like to sit on your bolster, on your blanket, whichever allows you to feel more upright in your spine. So in our last session on Friday, the Flow and Restore Yoga, we talked about the 6th and 7th limbs of the 8 limbs of yoga, which were Dharana, the 6th limb, concentrating, practicing, focusing on an object, and Dhyana, which is meditation. When you become more absorbed in that state of concentration, you can flow in and out of Dhyana meditation. Now I want to highlight the 8th limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, and it's called Samadhi. Here is how Nischala Joy Devi describes it in her book, The Secret Power of Yoga. When individual consciousness unites with a divine consciousness, the illusion of separateness dissolves. This is Samadhi. So the world that we visit during Samadhi, or union with divine consciousness, has no tangible language. It is a state beyond description. It can only be experienced, but let's give it a try. If we stir a cup of sugar into a pitcher of water, it seems to disappear. We may not be able to see it, yet if we taste the water, we recognize the sugar by its sweetness. Because the sugar has been completely absorbed in the water, their union creates a new expression. From then on, it becomes impossible to separate the two. The effect of the sugar merging with the water is similar to our gathered consciousness merging into the divine. When consciousness unites in Samadhi, unlike during Dharana, contemplation or concentration, or Dhyana, meditation, the distinction between the individual consciousness, or chitta, and the eternal consciousness, chit, dissolves. So trying to comprehend Samadhi, union with divine consciousness, before we have experienced it is like trying to understand being in love before it happens. So, as I've mentioned before, reaching the state of Samadhi is not something we can strive for, but we can set up the conditions by consistently integrating the other 7 limbs of yoga into a regular, sustained, and wholehearted practice. And that's what I hope sharing these 8 limbs of yoga does for you, is to inspire you to keep up your practice and to integrate not only physical asanas, which are important, but also pranayama, the 1st and 2nd limbs of yamas and niyamas, pratyahara, tuning inward, everything, so that you can fully benefit from the comprehensive science, art, and spiritual practices that is yoga. With that being said, let's incorporate as much as we can, starting here now with a physical body. As your body is still, maybe close the eyes. Begin to scan your awareness throughout it, observing without judging any sensations you're now experiencing. As you become more attuned to your physical state, notice the flow of the natural breath without changing the way you're breathing. Through the breath, become attuned to your energetic state. Now bring your awareness to your mind, and for the next few moments, observe the qualities of your mind right now. Patterns of thinking, whether the mind feels focused or scattered, agitated or calm. And sense the energy of your heart, observing any emotions that are present within. And now let the breath deepen. As you inhale through the nose, feel the breath moving within your body. Open the lips, empty the breath slowly. Continue to lengthen the breath. And maybe join your hands to meet at your heart, gesture in union, in gratitude. Recognizing something that you feel grateful for. So that from this standpoint, you now set your intention for today's practice. Defining what you are inviting into your experience. And as we look at the bigger picture, the larger consciousness that we are each a part of, I invite you to choose someone to dedicate today's practice to. A way to send loving kindness to them. And now let's join our voices together, chanting the sound of our interconnection, the sound of Om, 3 times, and absorbing the silence after each. So inhale fully. Excuse me. Bow in towards your heart center, feeling the guidance of your body, intelligent and wise as it is. Use that guidance to decide how you'll move into each posture, and really listen to the sensations, letting you know how deep to go, when to back off, or even to take moments to be at rest. So let's begin the practice of expanding the breath more consciously, a way to also ground ourselves and calm the nervous system, and help to bring more attention to the breath and how you use it to regulate your mind and your physical energy. This practice is called Durga Pranayama, or 3-part breathing. You begin by imagining that your torso is a jar. The bottom of the jar is at the bottom of your pelvis, and the top of the jar is at the top of your neck. Now visualize dividing that jar into 3 cross sections, so that the lowest, or the first cross section, is from the bottom of your pelvis to your belly button, all the way around. And the second, or the middle cross section, encompasses most of your rib cage, all the way around, so especially the side ribs. And the third, or the top cross section, is from your chest, neck, shoulders, and upper back. Now place your hands on the lowest cross section, hands on the lower belly, maybe also the lower back. And closing the lips, breathe just into this part or visualize doing so. Hold the breath in as you sit tall and relaxed. Notice how that feels. And as you keep the lips closed, gently exhale everything out. Hold the breath out. Notice how that feels. Now place your hands on the left and right walls of your rib cage and focus on breathing into the middle cross section, the second. Hold the breath, keep relaxing the body, pay attention to how this feels. And to your nose, empty the breath. Hold it out. Notice how that feels. And now place your hands at your collarbones, breathing into the top cross section, the third. Even into the upper back. As you hold the breath, relax the shoulders, keep lifting through the crown, and empty it through the nose. Hold the breath out, notice how that feels. So now that we've identified the feeling of each three part, we're going to divide one inhale into thirds. First into the lowest part, then into the second, and then into the third, where we'll hold the breath in before we exhale very slowly, everything out, and hold the breath out. Let's try 3 cycles of Durga Pranayama together, and then you continue for 2 cycles after. So you might rest a hand at your chest to indicate the top part, and a hand at your lower belly to indicate the bottom part. And maybe close the eyes to visualize where you're breathing into. Sitting tall and relaxed, prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Hold the breath out. Into the lowest cross section, inhale 1/3. Pause. Into the middle, inhale 1/3. Pause. Into the top, inhale the last third. Holding the breath, keep relaxing your body. Through your nose, slowly empty everything. Hold your breath out. Second cycle, inhale first third. Pause. Inhale the second. Pause. Inhale the third. Hold it in. Exhale slowly. Hold it out. Last one together, inhale the first third. Pause. Inhale into the middle. Pause. Inhale into the top. Hold the breath and let it go. Hold it out. Continue 2 more cycles on your own. And when you finish, let go of regulating the breath. As you breathe naturally, notice how you feel. And resting your arms, I invite you now to breathe in to all three parts gradually without holding the breath anymore. When you arrive at the very top of the inhalation, gently ease the breath out to your nose. Continue breathing with your mouth closed, but now invite balance in length of the inhale and the length of the exhale. And while sustaining the breath, let's move into the practice called Ujjayi Pranayama. It's a way to warm up the body, prepare it for the postures, as well as steadying the mind so that you're practicing concentration or dharana by creating a sound when you softly narrow the back of your throat. Let that sound be very smooth and gentle, a whispering sound. So listen to a few cycles of it here as you're sitting still. Setting a mindful pace to your breath. See if you can keep that same slow pace, gently audible through most of this physical practice, this asana yoga. Now start to make your way onto your back. Take a block with you, and we're going to move to the sound of the breath. Bend your knees, step your feet on the ground so your feet are parallel to each other. Now place the block by the skinniest width right between your knees and thighs so you're firming into the block. Bring your arms really close to your sides and slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Make sure that your feet are still parallel to each other. Spread your toes and press down evenly through the inner edges of your feet and the outer edges. Now ground your shoulders and tilt your chin back slightly to open your throat. We're going to move to the breath, one full breath, each bridge pose. So it's a moving bridge pose, and we'll do it for 5 rounds. So pace yourself. On the 6th round, we're gonna hold bridge pose. So what we're doing is opening up the front of the body, stretching it out, warming it up. So bring the arms down by your sides and press down through the feet and shoulders. Inhale, begin to point the tailbone up towards the block. Then lift the pelvis, hug the block, and stretch the tailbone forward, lifting the chest. When you arrive at the top of your inhale, very slowly exhale, lower your upper back, eventually your middle back, and lastly your pelvis. First cycle done. Cycle 2, inhale, keep the pelvis on the floor and start by pointing the tailbone up towards the block. Then lead with the tailbone and lift the pelvis. As you hug the block, stretch the fronts of the thighs forward, lifting the chest. Exhale, imagine you could lower one vertebra at a time. Take it really slowly. Tailbone last. Keep the pelvis on the floor again. Inhale, point the tailbone towards the block. Lead with it, and then lift the pelvis. As you're stretching the fronts of the thighs forward, isometrically drag your heels back. So you're not moving the feet, but just energetically. Slowly lower on your exhalation. Now keep going on your own for 2 more cycles of breath. When you finish the 5th exhalation, keep your pelvis on the ground for 3 breaths. Keep hugging the block, but just rest your body on the floor. Notice how it feels. Sense the rhythm of the breath. Has it changed? Come back to that really slow whispering sound. Now prepare to lift into bridge and stay there for your count of 7 to 10 deep breaths. When you decide to come down, use an exhalation to very slowly lower the spine and the pelvis. So get ready, arms close to your sides. Start by keeping the pelvis on the floor and tilting the tailbone to point towards the block. When you can't tilt anymore, lead with the tailbone, reaching for the block so that you lift the hips. As you hug the block, energetically drag your heels back, but keep your feet still. Walk your upper arms this time closer together underneath your back ribs. Keep your arms straight without bending the elbows. Only if your hands meet, then go ahead and interlace your fingers. Otherwise, just keep the hands on the ground. Press downward with the outsides of your upper arms and continue to tilt your chin back. Feel your collarbones broad and breathe into the topmost part of your torso, especially. But of course, all of your torso. Bridge pose, or in Sanskrit, it's called Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Take your time lowering when you decide on an exhalation. Once you've lowered your pelvis, set the block aside and bend your right knee into your chest. Slide your left leg flat on the floor, and as you're hugging your right thigh closer and closer towards the right side of your belly, circle your right foot a few times in both directions. Ground the backs of your shoulders and relax your head. Listen to your breathing. Now slide your pelvis another 3 to 5 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Let's prepare for a supine spinal twist. Open your right arm wide on the floor and ground that shoulder, gazing past it. Begin to cross your right thigh over your body to your left side. Only go as far to your left as you can still feel your right shoulder on the ground. As we stay for about 10 slow breaths, place your left hand on your right outer hip. And to help stretch the lower back deeper, as you exhale, gently press your right outer hip forward so that it slightly tilts towards the front edge of your mat. Feel the length of your in-breath match the length of your out-breath. As you roll onto your back, bend both of your knees, crossing your right thigh over the left as much as you can. Split your feet apart and with your hands hold your outer feet, or if that's hard to reach, hold your outer shins or even the backs of your thighs. Try to keep your pelvis on the ground, your shoulders and head on the ground. As you start to bring the thighs closer to your belly, continue to splay your feet wider apart. Again, 10 deep breaths in supine cow face pose. Supta Gomukhasana. Once you've completely emptied the next breath, uncross your legs and bend your knees towards your chest, rocking a little side to side. Drop your right leg straight on the floor and hug the left leg in. And for a few breaths of bringing the left thigh closer to the left side of your belly, circle your left foot at the ankle in both directions. Now, starting from your pelvis at the midline of your mat, scoot your pelvis towards the left edge another 3 to 5 inches. Let's prepare for the twist. Slide the left arm out to the left and ground the shoulder, gaze past it. Begin to cross your left thigh over your body to your right side. Only going as far as the left shoulder can stay grounded. Then land your right hand on your left outer hip. And to deepen the stretch in your lower back, as you breathe out, you can gently press your left outer hip towards the front edge of your mat. One more deep breath. Then rolling onto your back again, cross your left thigh as much as you can over your right thigh with both knees bent. Lift your feet apart and take hold of your outer feet or outer shins or backs of the thighs. Grounding your pelvis, your head and shoulders, start to bring the thighs closer to your belly if possible. Splaying the feet wider apart. 10 more deep breaths. Completing this next breath out, Uncross your legs, and this time, circle your thighs together and apart, moving in both directions. And with your knees still bent, set your feet on the ground so they're wider apart than your hips distance on the floor. The knees are the same distance apart. Keep your feet on the ground and drop your knees both to the right. Point your left knee down the midline of your mat and just pause here for a moment. Feel into the area of your left side of your hips and your lower back. You might stay right here, or if you want to invite a little more opening, a little more sensation, cross the right ankle above your left knee. Notice how that feels. You can always retract or add on and raise the arms overhead, holding opposite elbows as you drop the arms back, slide the shoulders down your back. Let's stay for another 10 slow breaths. Finishing this exhalation, and take your time lifting your legs so that your feet can land again on the ground with your knees bent. Feet wider apart than hips distance. Release the arms if you have them overhead. And just pause for a moment here. Feel your pelvis resting on the ground. Feel the breath again. Keep your feet where they are and drop your knees to your left side. Point your right knee down the center line of your mat. Pause here. Just observe what you're feeling around the right side of your pelvis, your lower back. Stay here or look for more feeling by crossing the left ankle above the right knee. Stay there or add raising the arms overhead, and this time holding the other elbow on top as you drop the arms and relax the shoulders down the back. Now let's count 10 slow, even breaths. when you finish this next exhalation, slowly start to unravel from this posture. Come back to stepping your feet on the ground, wider than hips distance apart, relaxing the arms down by your sides, and just pausing, observing. Then find the easiest way for you to lift your torso upright. Coming up to tabletop, hands and knees on the ground. Find your 2 blocks and place them on their medium height to start. You might adjust the heights to higher or lower in just a moment. So from here, as you're standing with your knees behind the blocks, maybe a foot behind or so, have your feet hips width apart and have your pelvis directly above your knees. Keep them there. And now as you straighten the arms forward with the palms face down, spiral your outer upper arms downwards so that you can spread the shoulder blades wider apart, as well as slide the shoulder blades down the back. So you're creating more space across the shoulders and along the neck. Keep that, and now seal in the bottom of your front ribs. So there's a little activation in the upper belly, the lower belly, to support the lower back as we try to maintain the feeling of a flat back. So keep the pelvis right above your knees, and now extend your arms forward until your forearms are resting on the blocks. You can bring the blocks further forward. You can adjust the height of the blocks, higher or lower to what's comfortable for you. And as you keep the hips right above the knees, let your forehead rest down, either on the ground, or you can grab your folded blanket to place your forehead on. And once you're there, the arms are shoulders width apart. Let the hands just hang down freely so the wrists are really relaxed as the blocks support your forearms. Now find those 2 actions in the shoulders again. Spiral your triceps towards the floor. Spread the shoulder blades apart and draw the shoulder blades down the back, lengthen the neck. How's your breathing? And seal in your front ribs so you're not just letting the belly dump and completely relax here. You're engaging the belly slightly while pulling your hips back so they stay right above your knees. In effect, lengthening the sides of your torso. So imagine breathing into the side walls of your rib cage, even up to your outer armpits. Try that a few times. We're going to be here for at least 10 breaths, probably longer. As you draw in your lower belly, helping to support and lengthen the lower back, breathe or imagine breathing into your lower back, wide across your sacrum. And even into your kidneys, which is just below your back ribs. And then even into your upper back where your shoulder blades sit and the base of your neck. Really similar to 3-part breath that we started with, Durga Pranayama. But focusing more on the back body. So I invite you to play as you listen to what areas of your body right now are responding in this pose, where you can feel sensations shifting, to imagine breathing into those parts one by one. So take your time for another 7 to 10 breaths. Finish the breath that you're on. And once you've fully emptied it, walk your hands to the floor closer to your knees so that you can gently lift your torso up. And very gradually lift your head up so you can sit, bringing the legs out in front of you. So now take your long pillow and extend your left leg open out to the left side. So you're turning out the thighs, splaying them hopefully wider apart than 90 degrees. Place that long pillow to trace the inseam of your left leg, just like this. And then grab a blanket as well, or a second pillow, and place that on top. So you have it nice and high, where you can just remove layers of it if you don't need it to be so high. So bring the heel of your right foot just in front of your pelvis at center. And now take a block just in case you want to use it here. If you have a light block, if your block is heavy, you might not find it useful. And hold the block with your palms hugging the widest width like this. As you raise your arms up, rotate your triceps forward and send your shoulders down the back. So we did the same actions we just did in that forward fold earlier. We're broadening the shoulder blades, we're sending them down. Now feel your front ribs. Are they beginning to project forward or pop out? Seal in the bottom front ribs. So you have to activate the upper belly a little bit and sit up a little taller, activate the lower belly so you're protecting the spine. And now press the two sitting bones downward and lift up through the back of your skull. Sit up a little taller, breathe in. Begin to spin your torso so your chest faces your right wall just slightly, and now begin to fall over to your left side, onto the pillow, onto the blanket. And then here you can decide you want to use that block as a pillow underneath your left shoulder like this, and you can just drape the right arm over you. Get creative here. Let your arms relax so that right arm can just rest on your skull. You can relax the wrists. Notice if your right hip is starting to rise away from the ground. If it's happening, then you might have to prop yourself up a little higher, add more to your pillow and your blanket. You want to keep rooting that right hip down. So we're opening up into the right side of your torso. Imagine breathing into it, especially where you have the most sensations happening. About 10 more breaths here. A lateral extension of the spine. I've worked with people with scoliosis, some private clients, and if you know that your spine tends to shorten either on the left or the right side, the side in which your spine contracts or shortens, you want to spend more time with that side facing the sky in this pose. How's your breathing? One more deep breath here. Slowly begin to lift your head, your torso. Now, keep your legs the same, but just move that pillow aside for a moment and take your strap. Step the ball of your left foot into the strap. If you have a loop, Hook the loop around the ball of the foot. And now close the angle. So now it's either 90 degrees at your pelvis or maybe even slightly lower, narrower, more acute. So bring the sole of your left foot to hug your inner right thigh and hold the strap in your right hand. Place your left hand on the outside of your left hip on the ground. And as you're flexing the left foot, sit up tall and turn your sternum, your chest, towards the outside of your left leg. So now you're sort of twisting in the opposite direction as earlier. Then begin to fold towards the outside of the left leg. Pause as you breathe in, especially root down the right side of your pelvis, but of course both, and lengthen your spine. Then if you can, fold a little more, as long as you're not rounding the back. Feel the length in the front and in the back of your neck. 10 breaths in total here. When you're ready to come up, press down through the hips and begin to lift the chest. Inhale to rise. Remove the strap. Bend your left knee and turn out your right leg as you straighten it, and create, if you can, an obtuse angle at your pelvis, so wider than a right angle. Bringing the left heel to the center of your pelvis, place your pillow and stack of blankets along the inseam of your right leg. Grab a block if it's not heavy. Otherwise, you can just pretend to hold one. Sandwich between your palms by the widest width. Extend your arms overhead and wrap the triceps forward. Press the shoulders down. Press the pelvis down and lift up through the center of your spine. Hug in your front ribs. And now first, turn your torso to face your left wall. Just a slight twist. Now begin to fall slowly onto your stack of pillows and blankets. Then you can place that block, if it's comfortable, under your right shoulder to rest your head on as you drape the left arm over your skull and just let your arms hang freely. How's the breathing? Especially press down your left sitting bone. If it's rising away from the floor, stack something else underneath your torso. Get up a little higher. 10 deep breaths here. Finish the breath that you're on. And as you press the pelvis downward, slowly begin to rise up. Move the pillow aside so that you can place the strap around the ball of your right foot. Either make your angle at your pelvis a 90-degree angle or an acute angle, bringing the sole of your left foot against your inner right thigh. Hold the strap with your left hand and place the right hand just outside of your right hip. As you ground your sitting bones, lengthen the spine and turn your chest towards the outside of your right leg. Exhaling, begin to fold towards the outside of your right leg, little by little. Keep grounding both sitting bones and especially the left. Remember to only fold as far as you're not rounding the back. You can keep your throat open. 10 deep breaths. So this posture is twisting head to knee pose, or Parita Janu Shirshasana. When you're ready, press down through the pelvis and breathe in, slowly rise up, removing the strap. Now let's find a comfortable seated position to practice another pranayama to help us turn inward or practice pratyahara, that fifth limb of yoga, preparing us for shavasana, dharana, dhyana, and setting up the conditions for samadhi. So you might like to elevate your pelvis on any of your props here so that you can really feel that your spine is tall, the breath is easily flowing, there's plenty of space for it in your torso. Relax the whole body, relax the shoulders. And this breathing technique is alternate nostril breathing, or Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. So continue to breathe with your lips closed, but now let go of that ujjayi whispering sound and focus more on very soft breathing, very subtle. It requires more of your attentiveness to pay attention to, more sensitivity. Now, as you rest your left hand on your lap, choose a mudra that cultivates invitation of higher levels of consciousness or deeper states of meditation is Gyan Mudra, bringing the thumb and first finger to touch and resting the palm face up. Placing your hand in Vishnu Mudra, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring fingers. We'll be using the right thumb like this to close your right nostril, and the right ring and pinky like this to close your left nostril. Alternate nostril breathing. Let's practice 3 cycles of this together and then 3 cycles on your own after. Choose an inner gazing point, such as one of your 7 chakras that you want to focus on today. Intuition, Ajna chakra towards the center of your brain, center of your forehead, interconnectedness or connection to the divine. Focus on your crown chakra up here, Sahasrara chakra. And then closing your eyes, steadying your focus on one spot inward. Prepare to begin by exhaling. Hold the breath out. Right thumb, close right nostril. Inhale slowly through the left. Hold the breath in. Close left nostril, exhale gently through right. Hold the breath out. Inhale deeply through right. Hold it in. Close right, exhale slowly through left. Hold it out. Cycle 2, inhale through left. Hold the breath. Close left, exhale to right. Hold the breath. Inhale through right. Hold the breath. Cover right. Exhale through left. Hold the breath. Cycle 3. Inhale through left. Hold it in. Close left. Exhale through right. Hold it out. Inhale through right. Hold it in. Close right. Exhale through left. Hold it out. Keep going for 3 more cycles. Taking your time, finish when you are done, so that when you finish, you just sit and breathe naturally, observing your experience. Allow your whole body to feel relaxation as you now release control of the breathing. Yet stay aware of the breath as an object of focus. You might keep your eyes closed as you start to lower your body to the floor and place it in corpse pose, Shavasana, where you can splay your legs apart, let the feet drop, turn the palms up by your sides, relax the shoulders down, and be still for the next 5 minutes. As your body continues to rest in stillness, notice how you're feeling now physically. Starting with small, gentle movements, start to wake up your body. Stretch the arms overhead, bend your knees, and begin to turn over onto your right side, resting your head there. Feel the breath as it is, and notice your energy. Sense if anything has shifted about it. Then take your time lifting your body up. Find a comfortable way to sit for 5 minutes in meditation. You might place your hands in a mudra such as Gyan Mudra like earlier. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead. And right away begin by resting your awareness on the breath, letting the breath be natural. As many times as your attention might wander away from the breath, gently bring it back. In the practice of dharana, concentration. when you have to re-guide your breath, your attention back to the breath less and less, and you realize that you have been absorbed in the breath effortlessly, then those are practices of meditation. Dhyana, the seventh limb. Notice how you feel now emotionally and mentally. Bringing closure to the practice today, join your hands together at your heart and recognize anything you appreciate in this moment. Then remember what your intention was for this practice. And remember to whom you dedicated this practice today. Let's join our voices chanting Om 3 times. Inhaling. Bowing in. Thank you to yourself for showing up to your practice today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.